And with that being said, I'm going to turn this meeting to our chairwoman, Ms. Chris Settlemyer, to do welcomes and introductions.
Thank you, Jasmine, and thank you, chapter presidents and board members, for taking time out this afternoon. This is going to be a very valuable hour for you. We hope to run through quite a number of issues, and we want to just keep informing and educating you about everything going on. I want to introduce quickly the regional directors. I'll start from the east and go west. The Northeast Regional Director is Lois House. The Southeast Regional Director and board member is Eddie Woodham. The South Central Regional Director is Deb Belshak. We have Laura Rodriguez in the Southwest chapter and also on the board of directors. And Northwest is Linda Filippi. And we also have Helen Prokillo. Probably all of you know Helen and the valuable work she has been doing with our SBN members and chapters. She is also on the board of directors. So we are so happy that we've been able to work together as a team, working together with you as chapter presidents and maximizing our team efforts. So with that, Jasmine, if you want to go ahead and take over, thank you for all that you do for us. And we're really pleased to have you give us some insight on what's new and what's happening here.
Absolutely, thank you, Chris. So I want to introduce, and I'm not sure if you did, Chris, did you get to ask the staff on the call? Aside from myself?
Oh, the ASTA staff, no, I'm sorry. We have Jasmine Causey, we have Bob Douglin, Christina Salou, Peter Labasso. Am I forgetting anybody?
Nope, that's it.
That is our supreme team at ASTA.
Yes. So yes, we have your regional directors, your representative on the board for SBN, as well as four members of ASTA. I had to think about that. 4 members of ASTA staff on this call with you today, and we just want to discuss some things that are going to be very important for you all moving forward. And so just one more time, the meeting etiquette, please mute yourself if you're not talking. Please use the chat feature to submit questions. We will be answering questions towards the end of each piece of the presentation. There will be a screen that says questions. You may turn your camera on if you choose to do so. And of course, this meeting is being recorded and will be posted to our new YouTube page, as well as a direct link sent to you all. So we're going to do right now, we're going to do a roll call, and this is how it's going to work. I would like you to type the following in the chat. Yes, the slides will be made available afterwards as well via PDF form. So in the chat, if you could please type your name, your chapter, and the position you hold within your chapter. That way we can see if we have, ASTAPAC chairs, presidents, vice presidents, secretaries, membership chairs, and so on. So if you could just type all of that in the chat, I see a lot of that is coming in. Thank you so much for doing that. And I'll just give you guys a few minutes or a few seconds to do that as well. Thank you so much for all, once again, for everyone attending. We really do appreciate it. And we hope you find this meeting very, very informational. So we're going to talk about ASTA elections, and this is going to affect everyone in at least one way or another, but we want to talk specifically to our chapter leadership because you guys are going to really be leading the charge on this. So let's talk a little bit about general elections information. ASTA's elections the elections for ASTA's National Board of Directors are typically held every year. Last year, 2020, the board made the decision not to hold elections due to the pandemic, but we will be holding elections for 2020 going into 2021. So we will hold elections this year, 2021. I'm sorry, 2021 to 2022. So the election process starts in May and ends with AGC. And we wanted to give you guys kind of a heads up of what that election process is going to look like so you can have some time to put some thought to it before the election process officially begins. And we wanted to give you all information prior to it coming out to the general ASTA population. So generally how elections work is there's a call for self-nominations beginning in May. And there's also the submission of candidate profiles and statements. So people express their intent for the open positions, and then they have to submit their candidate profiles and statements. And then there's an announcement of the candidates for the regional director positions. This particular item and any items that you see in this ASTA pink color are going to be specific to the chapter presidents, council, and the regional directors. So the announcement of the candidates for regional director positions is specific to this group. There will also be a regional director candidate forum webinar, and ballots are sent out for all open board positions, including the regional directors, and we will dive into that a little bit in further slides. And then we'll have an announcement of the winners of the regional director seats and begin the runoff balloting for the board of director seats in this case. And then there'll be the closing of all balloting and the announcement of the board of directors election results to include those regional directors. So let's talk specifically about regional directors. The chapter presidents in the region elect the regional director for their region. So if you are a chapter president in the Northeast, you'll be voting when it is time for the regional director in the Northeast. Elections occur in the odd numbered years for North Central, South Central, Northwest, and Southwest. So 2021 is an odd number year. So the elections for this year will be in the North Central, South Central, Northwest, and Southwest. Elections occur in the even years for the Northeast and Southeast. This is staggered so that we do not have all of our regional director experience all leaving the regional director group all at the same time. There are 4 seats up for elections this year, being an odd numbered year. Each regional director serves a 2-year term with a maximum of 2 terms. So let's look at a map that kind of puts this in a visual way. As you can see, these purple, or ASTA pink really, represents the seats that will be up for election this year, 2021 being an odd year. The seats in blue are not up for election this year. They will be up for election next year in 2022 being an even year. In this year, we have 2 regional directors who have completed their duties and dedication in a way to ASTA through this service, and that is Laura Rodriguez and Chris Settlemeyer have both served 2 2-year terms, and we thank them for their service. And we appreciate their service very, very much. And unfortunately, they will not be running to be reseated, as this is the maximum number of terms allowed by our bylaws. So in those particular areas, we will have open seats where the regional directors who did hold those seats are not eligible to run again due to running out of terms. All right. So who is eligible to run for these seats? Past chapter presidents may run for any open regional director seat. Current chapter presidents may run for the regional director seat of their current region. If a current chapter president runs for a regional director seat and wins, they will need to give up their position as chapter president according to ASTA's bylaws as they currently stand. A current chapter president may choose to relinquish their position in order to run for a regional director seat or position outside of their region, if they so choose. 3 of the 6 regional directors sit on ASTA's National Board of Directors. These positions are selected via a runoff election. This year, there are 2 open spaces for regional directors on ASTA's National Board. These will be decided via a runoff election between the 4 regional directors elected this year, and only those who voted in the earlier regional director election will be able to vote in the runoff. So let's take a look at this map again. Currently, the seats held by regional directors on ASTA's National Board of Directors are currently held by Eddie Woodham, Chris Settlemyer, and Laura Rodriguez. Since Chris and Laura have completed their service in this way to ASTA, those 2 seats are now open on the ASTA National Board of Directors, which would mean those who are elected to these 4 positions, of those 4 people, there will be a runoff election to determine who fills the 2 seats on the board. The people who will be voting in that election are the people who previously voted to elect within these areas. So if you are a chapter president in Northwest, Southwest, North Central, or South Central, you will first vote for the regional director of your region, and then you will be voting in a subsequent runoff election to select 2 regional directors to be seated on ASTA's National Board of Directors. The way that this will work is that the 2 highest vote getters will be the ones who sit on ASTA's National Board. So what are we asking of you as chapter presidents? First, we would like to encourage your chapter members to vote. Starting in May, we will be sending out more information about eligibility for positions, other than, of course, the ones that I spoke about just now, as well as who's eligible to vote, and so on. When you see these emails, we ask you to be on the lookout for them and then repeat it when you see it. And what I mean by repeat it when you see it is if you see that call for nominations has come out, go ahead and send that to your chapter members. Post it on your Facebook page. When you receive your ballot to vote, go ahead and send it to your chapter members and post that on your Facebook page. There are specifics around who is eligible to vote and who is eligible to run for different positions, but all of that will be spelled out for you, and so you can feel free to repeat that information anywhere that you are communicating with your members. With that being said, I would just like to say that we are currently looking at the regional map and possibly making some changes, but any changes that we do make will take place around the time of AGC. So this will be an important topic at AGC as well. So you want to make sure that your chapter is well represented at that, or in that space. Does anyone have any questions regarding the elections process that I went over? Will I also post the information on the chapter president's Facebook page? Absolutely. I will put this on the chapter president's Facebook page. Other questions about elections? From our regional directors / national leadership and ASTA staff, was there anything that I missed? Please feel free to unmute yourself and chat, talk.
This is Helen. I just want to remind everybody. So we need somebody who's good to represent you guys on the board.
You cut out, Helen. Would you repeat that whole thing?
My term as SBN representative is up this year, so we need somebody from SBN who knows you're passionate about SBN, you know, the chapter system, the responsibilities of the chapter and the board, you know, mail magnet. We need somebody to assist the regional directors and represent SBN on the board. So think about it.
Thank you, Helen. I saw a question that says, is there an election handbook with the rules? I don't believe there is a separate election handbook, but much of what I referenced, if not all of it, is stated within ASTA's bylaws, which you can find on asta.org. And I can send a link to asta.org with the information that I send out, the slide deck, as well as the recording of this call. And that is located in ASTA bylaws.
Jasmine,
Yes.
this
Oh,
is
I'm
Laura.
sorry. Hi, Laura.
Can you just clarify how the runoff selection is going to be for regional directors, if it comes to that?
Oh, absolutely. I can clarify that. Before I do, Peter, did you have a comment about what I said before?
Yes, Jasmine, thank you. Just really quickly, we do have an election procedures guide. It's not a manual per se. It's only about 3 or 4 pages long, but I'd be happy to pass that on to Jasmine to distribute it to everybody. It does provide some more specific information regarding the election procedures.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Peter. And to answer Laura's question, the runoff, and I'm going to ask Peter to assist me with this, is that once we have determined via election who will be filling these 4 seats that you see in this ASTA pink color, we will then need to have an election to determine, out of the 4 people there, which 2 will sit on the ASTA National Board of Directors. And it will be the 2 people who receive the highest number of votes who will then be elevated to the Board of Directors to join EDI. Peter, did I miss anything, or is there anything else you can further clarify?
No, I think that covers it. Just think of the runoff as we have 4, and we need to whittle it down to 2. So that's the reason why we have the runoff as a required next step. And the reason why, just to give you a little bit of brief background on that, as many of you on the call remember, we initially only had 3 area directors, and all of them, by virtue of being area directors, sat on the board of directors. But then when we changed the procedure to create 6 of these positions, now called regional directors, we needed to find a way to determine who sits on the board. So that's the only reason why there's a second election after the first one.
Will all the presidents vote for the runoff, or by region?
All of the presidents who are in one of the 4 regions for which there is an election this year. North, Central,
that had voted before.
West, Southwest.
Correct, Jasmine? That had voted initially.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes. To answer, Sharon has asked if there's a bio given, or if there's a bio given out to everyone to nominate a candidate. Candidates self-nominate. That's actually how the elections process begins. They self-nominate for the different positions. If they're eligible to run, that eligibility will be determined upon self-nomination. What about elections for chapter presidents after 2 years who are not in the odd areas? So are you specifically, Barbara, or I'm sorry, because Barbara, you're in here twice, or the person submitting this comment, are you specifically talking about chapter presidents, or are you specifically talking about regional directors? Because chapter presidents are appointed by a process using ASTA headquarters and leadership, not elected.
I know I'm in here twice because my secretary, my treasurer couldn't get on, so I sent him my link. So I'm down here twice. You'll see me in 2 different forms.
Okay.
I'm figuring if after 2 years, the presidents of the chapters can either run again or people come in. What about those who are not in the odd years? Is that they just can do chapter presidents can choose someone else? That's what I'm trying to find out. In other words, I know you self-apply, but does it matter if it's in an odd year, an even year, if you've served 2 years?
So there isn't, so chapter presidents are allowed to serve so long as they choose to serve and they're meeting their chapter requirements. There isn't actually a term limit for chapter presidents. The
Oh, I-
limits come in with the regional people who want to serve as regional directors, in the sense that they serve for 2 years and then they can serve again for another 2 years, but after two-year terms, then they have cycled off, if you will, as they have given enough to ASTA at that point.
Okay. So you could do it at any time. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, as a chapter president, if you would like to continue and it's in your best interest and the best interest of ASTA for you to continue, then you can continue. If you choose not to continue, then I ask that you let us, particularly me, at headquarters know, so that we can begin the process for choosing another chapter president.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there other questions about elections, eligibility, or anything of that nature?
Hey, Jasmine, it's Peter again.
Hi, Peter.
Sorry to interrupt. I just thought
No problem.
another piece of information that might be useful for the group, as far as the information that they share with their membership, is the fact that besides the regional director positions that we've talked about here today, there are also 5 at-large seats on the board of directors that happen to be open this year. So if you're not a chapter president and you're on this call representing a chapter and you're interested in running for one of the at-large seats, you certainly have the right to do that. And this is a good opportunity, again, because 5 of the 8 at-large seats on the board of directors are currently open this year.
Thank you, Peter. So we will definitely be putting out more details when we call for self-nominations of all the positions are open. And to Mitch, to Sonora, stay safe. And to Mitch, when we send out the call for nominations, there will be descriptions for all of that as well. We'll describe, what the duties are and different things like that, and as well as call for nominations. Peter, you're probably the best person to do this. Would you mind explaining a little bit about an at-large position?
Yeah, I would be happy to. As far as the duties, they're all really pretty much the same once you're on the board of directors, as far as your responsibilities, as far as guiding the ASTA staff and weighing in on some of the more critical issues. But the difference is there are seats that are set aside for different purposes within the organization. And obviously the regional director role is kind of the one that's probably most pertinent to chapter presidents, since that's a direct path to the board of directors for you folks. But there's also the at-large seats, which any member of ASTA who is eligible to hold office and vote can run for those seats. And there's no particular requirement that they either hold another office or have a different category of membership, provided again that they are in the category that enables them to serve on the board of directors. More information about the different types of seats on the board can be found in the ASTA bylaws. So I would recommend that if you have questions about that, that's a great source of information to answer those questions for you.
Absolutely. Let's see.
There are some
There was a
questions for
question-
Peter, yeah.
Yeah, I see some questions for Peter, and I'm going to throw this question at Peter anyway. So can at-large, someone who serves in an at-large seat also be on the local board at the same time?
No, no. There is a rule in the ASTA bylaws that states that you cannot hold 2 different offices simultaneously. That's actually Article 9 of the bylaws. So if you are elected to the national board, then you're deemed to have resigned your position, your lesser position within the chapter.
and people are asking specifically for if you were an at-large, if you are running for an at-large seat, you must be a core or a premium member, correct? I'm just reading the question verbatim.
Yes, that is correct. You have to be a core or premium agency member with voting rights. If you meet that category criteria, then you are eligible to run for the at-large seat.
Thank you for clarifying that, Peter. Are there other questions regarding elections or anything else that we can clarify for you all? I'm just going to give a few moments to get back to my mouse for people to type. I don't want to rush. Because I imagine you all are going to be the people that your chapters come to when we start putting out this elections information. So we are lucky to have our 6 regional directors, 3 of whom sit on the board, and Helen, who also sits on the board of directors. So I just want to give them a couple of moments, if they will briefly just talk a little bit about your experience, either being a regional director, about sitting on the board, things that, or, positive, things that are challenging, just in case someone is looking at that. I'm sorry. And before as you all are thinking of your answers, and if you could keep them to 2 to 3 minutes, I'm going to answer Mitch's question. This is chapter presidents vote for regional directors, and what do the regular members vote for during election? They're voting for the at-large seats, and basically every other seat that is not regional director based, they're voting for. So I'm going to put our esteemed chairwoman on the spot. Yeah, her jaw drops. Just a little bit about your experience, good, bad, indifferent, favorite things, least favorite things, just a couple of moments for anyone who might be considering your type of position, either now or in the future.
Absolutely. I think Laura and I have served from the time that the regional directors were again reinstated. We had area directors many years ago, but we've seen an awful lot change throughout the past few years. And I've been very gratified at seeing how the chapters have come back and are more important to ASTA than what I feel they've ever been before. I've really gotten a lot out of working closely with the chapters and working with the other regional directors. They're all such valuable people. Helen is just so full of wisdom and knowledge from the SBN side. I really can't tell her how much I appreciate her. And when you get to this level of regional director, you learn so much more about the chapter system. And if you have that desire to know more, how do they help ASTA? What can we do to help even more? And I think it's the passion of just believing in ASTA's mission. That was the core statement that Zane gave when he created these regional director positions. We need to bring ASTA closer to the members. So the regional directors were then tasked with creating more chapters to bring ASTA to more people. So I think that it's a very vital position, and I encourage you to consider thinking seriously about it.
All right, thank you, Chris. I
Sure.
won't call anybody out, but I like putting Chris on the spot because it's fun. But if any of the other regional directors or national leadership would like to unmute themselves and jump in, I would encourage you to do so. It looks like Laura is unmuted already. So,
Oh my God,
Laura.
it's been unmuted. Thank you. Now, I believe once you have that position, I mean, once you get in, I think the more you get involved with ASTA, ever since I started as a treasurer for a chapter and then, secretary or chapter president, and then it was area director and then regional director, you tend to be wanting to get more involved because you see firsthand all the work that ASTA staff does, all the work that is done towards the benefit of the membership, and especially the chapters. The regional directors, prior to that, the 3 representatives to the board that were chapter presidents. I mean, we were there, we were there to fight for the rights, and not fight. I mean, but to make sure that all the membership had the proper representation, and all the membership had the same equality. I mean, because the board of directors not only has the 3 regional directors, as Peter said, we have the CAC, we have premium, we have our vendors, all the membership is represented at the board. So the core are the chapters, and having 3 representatives is great. So if you want to be more involved with ASTA, and ASTA is positioned or has come back from being back here all the way to being recognized not only by travel agencies, but airlines, cruise lines, car rental companies. I mean, ASTA is it. So if you want to be more involved and have more information firsthand, you'll please run for a regional director.
I see that Helen is unmuted. So Helen, if you would go ahead, please.
And I better mute myself.
I just would like to say that this last 5 years has really been a privilege for me to be on the board and working with Chris and Laura and Eddie. It's, as SBN, we're all in this together, and we all work together to make sure your needs are heard. We got to know, it's fascinating to see what goes on in the background that you guys have no idea are going on, and how events are planned, and helping out with all of that. It's just been one of the privileges that I have really enjoyed in 18 years of being a travel agent. So if you are an independent contractor, this is a seat you would be eligible for. And if you want to get more involved, I really would say, please think about it.
Thank you, Helen. Before any of the other regional directors jump in, just really quickly, I want to take another chance to thank Helen, Laura, and Chris, because they have served 2 two-year terms, which means they will not be joining us in this capacity. And I would just like to thank them for their continued service to ASTA in this way. And they have been valuable members of my team that I go to when I have questions and I need feedback and stuff like that. And I'm sad to see them go. I know that they will be around, but I just want to take another opportunity, and I will be doing this until August, to thank them once again. I see Deb has unmuted herself. So Deb, if you would like to go ahead and speak.
Some of these roles are more of the mentorship and of the leadership, education and training. I come from a position that I started the chapter in Mid-Michigan back in 2005. I've sat in leadership positions through the NACTA, which now is the ASTA SBN. And part of that is based around education and training also to help grow the leadership and come back to make ASTA, the whole organization, better to serve you and the consumer. So it is interesting, and like some of the other ladies said before me, you gain a closer friendship with some of the leadership roles, and you get to help out to help improve this association. and what makes it stand out from every other association of the travel industry. And that's pretty much what I was going to say.
Thank you, Deb. Deb is also, why is there echo? Deb is also one of, my team of people that I go to, along with Linda and Eddie and Lois. So I don't know if either all of you or some of either of you would like to say anything additional. You can nod your head yes or no or what have you.
One other thing I wanted to say, though, when you're in these positions, it isn't about a popularity contest of this is my friend, I want him in that position. You really have to consider for your RDs who's going to do the best job at the time that people are running. And it always comes down to, well, I know this person, but I don't know that. You really need to look at the leadership and the credentials too, to say, I think they're going to do the best job at this election. Down the road, they might be the person you need to vote for, but who's doing the best job when the elections come? That's it, Jasmine.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, but thank you so much for adding that. Other comments? Lois?
I just want to say I'm the newest of the regional directors. However, I have been an ASTA for like 34 years, I think, and have been a chapter secretary, BP, president, and on the board of directors before. This is like a whole different thing when I came into this, and I'm really enjoying getting to know all the different chapters, especially in the Northeast, because that's my little home, and really seeing how much is going into each chapter and the different programs and everything that's going on. And I'm here for you if you need me. Just make sure you stay in touch. And it's really been fun. So it's been great. And I'm not up for re-election.
Thank you, Lois. I see you've unmuted, Linda, if you would like to go ahead.
Sure, I would. I guess I would say that to me, being a regional director has been a very rewarding experience. I was a NACTA chapter director, then ASTA NACTA chapter president, and then went on to the regional directorship. And really one of the things that I love is being able to share information with what one chapter might be doing with the next one, sort of best practices, but also too then on a national level being part of the leadership team and really understanding more about the advocacy that ASTA does. And I feel like that's one of the ways that ASTA has proven the value of the organization, as witnessed by all of the new members that we have had over the past year or so, is that we really are the only organization working in that way for travel agents and advisors and the travel professional community. So that's a really important piece for me in terms of being involved, is to keep that at the forefront of, when we're out there meeting new people, sort of beating the drum for ASTA and why it's important and the things that it can bring to individual agents and advisors.
Thank you. Helen again?
I want to just thank the regional directors for what they do, because you guys may be chapter presidents, but seeing what they have to do with keeping chapters together, checking to make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And, there's sometimes that you're a referee. It's not an easy job. So you have to really be coordinated. You have to be able to be good with people and be able to encourage people and to encourage chapters to do what they need to be doing, to be able to bring in new members. It's a hard position, but it's probably one of the most rewarding when you get back and you see that your chapters are successful. So I really got to give a hand out to the RDs, because it's a tough job, and the RDs we have are terrific.
Thank you, Helen. Eddie, I don't know if you had anything you would like to add.
Well, a lot has been said and it's all really great. I would just encourage all the presidents to consider running, especially if you've been doing this for a while. You definitely get a lot more insight into what it takes to run an organization as big as ASTA is. And this year, particularly during COVID, it's just been amazing what the team from ASTA has done to support and protect the agency system and the travel advisor and trying to get the compensation, unemployment compensation. So ASTA is stronger than ever in this crazy time. And I know that may sound kind of strange, but we've grown by over 4,000 independent contractors during this last year. And hopefully we'll continue. There's more interest than ever in new chapters. So I say we're stronger than ever, and it looks like maybe adversity in some ways has been a great thing for us. And I know that's kind of like dichotomy, but it's true. So thank you for all we've done.
Thank you, Eddie, and to all of our regional directors and national leadership. Thank you once again. So we have a few minutes left in our call now that we've heard from the experts. So I actually want to talk a little bit about our membership recruitment and retention drive. So what I will say is that we have the opportunity, hello husband, we have the opportunity to have a membership recruitment and retention drive that we will be doing. There will be more information coming out about that from your regional directors. We will have regional calls regarding this membership recruitment and retention drive, but I want to start talking about it now so that you guys can start thinking of ideas. So let me go over what it's going to be. This is going to be a regional-based competition. Each region will be given codes for discounting new and renewing memberships. ASTA HQ, me, and Christina will be tracking these codes so we know which regional codes are being used, and those codes will be handed out, if you will, handed out on the regional calls that will happen in the next few weeks. These codes will be active from April 1st to May 31st. These discounts will be better than what's out there. So for those of you who are missing the ASTA 50 codes, the ASTA 50 is no more. The SBN 34 is no more. But for this recruitment and retention drive that's going to run from April 1st through May 31st, there are going to be codes that are going to be given to you regionally that you will be able to use to assist members in renewing and new memberships. You will use these codes to entice members to come to your meetings. So your invite says, come to our meeting and receive a discount off of ASTA membership. These codes should not be sent via mass email or posted on Facebook pages. These codes are really for you all to draw members into your chapter meetings. Will you need a decoder ring to use these codes? No. There'll be alphanumeric codes that they will be able to apply to their memberships upon renewal. People can renew early if they want to get this discount. You can encourage that as well. But I just want to emphasize that there are several reasons why we're using these codes for this group. As Eddie alluded to, we had a massive amount of people join ASTA last year because of the good work that ASTA, particularly our advocacy team, which includes Peter Labasso, have done to make sure that we were included in the relief. The majority of these people who joined ASTA joined between March and May of last year, which means that they are up for renewal between March and May of this year, especially your new independent advisors. Some of these new independent advisors have not yet interacted with their chapter. We want to make sure that they are connected with their chapter. And we're doing this by allowing you all to use these discount codes, which are going to be better than pretty much everything out there, save the deals that, or the membership deals that we have with our partner host and consortia. So unless they're with a particular host or consortia, the best retention or the best renewal deal or new deal will come from their chapter. All of that being said, it is extremely important that you all guard these codes and use them during your meetings. Or if someone who attended your meeting forgets the code, then you can send them a one-off email. But please do not post these codes on Facebook. Do not send them out in mass emails. And the reason why I emphasize that fact is because we want these members, particularly the new members who came in with this group, to interact with you, to join your chapters, to serve on your boards if there's space. We want to make sure that they are interacting with you. The only people who will be allowed to have these codes are the ones who are given them by their chapter leadership. Ask the staff will not be handing out these codes. If they sign up early, does that change their anniversary date? No, it does not. It just means they don't have to worry about it later. So if someone decides they want to renew now, even though they don't, their membership doesn't run out until October of 2021, it'll just bump them to October of 2022. It's not going to change their anniversary date or anything like that. It just means they get to renew now at a discount. So for all of you membership coordinators, chapter presidents, and stuff like that, just know that. Let's see, how do we keep the people who have given them for posting them on Facebook? Honestly, hopefully we can, I would encourage you to emphasize to them the same thing that I'm emphasizing to you, that these codes are particular to those people who have attended your chapter meetings. And just to emphasize an amount of fairness, like, hey, you attended the meeting, so you get the code. Other people who want the code should also attend the meeting. Yes, Real Magnet does contain their renewal date, and Real Magnet is referenced as the paid through date, or PTD for short if you're doing reports. And so that PTD or paid through date will dictate when they are due to renew, but they are welcome to renew early. Now, if they have a code and they've received it from you and they're having trouble renewing, they can reach out to Ask the Staff with that code, and Ask the Staff will assist them. But Ask the Staff is not handing out these codes. So if someone calls up and says, "Oh, I heard of a chapter or chapter code or something like that," I'm gonna ask them, "What chapter are you with?" If they don't know, I'm going to help them find out, and then I'm going to encourage them to contact their chapter president or chapter leadership. So that's the emphasis with that. And of course, we'll have regional meetings over the next couple of weeks to give out the regional specific codes and to talk about additional details as well as answer questions. I do not want to keep you all much longer because I want to be very respectful of your time. So we do have 2 minutes left in this call. If you have any quick questions that I can answer, I'm happy to do those if you want to put that in the chat. Otherwise, you are, for lack of a better word, dismissed, but please be on the lookout for emails. Oh, one other thing I want to emphasize. Christina has done an excellent job of providing resources around recruitment and retention. So when I make the announcement of the dates and times for the regional meeting, I will be sending out Christina's presentation on recruitment and retention, as well as the recording. If the recording will load, I will send out the recording if I can to her presentation during the January CPC meeting. So you will get Christina's information around recruitment and retention and a time and date for your regional meeting as well. And we will probably meet 2 regions at a time. So if you miss the one for your region, I will make sure to have all the codes posted so you can join another one. With that being said, the time is now 5:59. Again, I want to be very respectful of your time. And so unless there are any other questions or anyone else has anything else to say.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Quick. And it doesn't have to be answered now. You can hit me up later.
Okay.
There's an issue where, ongoing issue where I'm all about retaining and getting more memberships, but there's an issue where if someone joins, they automatically get put into the closest ASTA chapter instead of SPN chapter, and I want to know if that's being looked at.
That is definitely being looked at in several ways. One, sorry, I will say, if you have to hop off, please do, but I'm going to answer this question. If a member is, when they join, they are assigned a chapter via their zip code. That's currently how our system works. We're looking at doing a massive overhaul of our website and our join process, and we are also looking at this issue as well to allow members to choose their chapter upon join. Until we are able to do that, we are going to, I would encourage you that if a member is looking to be in a specific chapter, please either have them come to myself or any member of the membership team if they would like their chapter, if they would like their chapter changed. Now, for this particular competition, it is regional based, so you and your ASTA traditional chapter counterpart are both in the same region, so that is solved, but that issue is being looked into.
Jasmine, we were told there was going to be something different about ASTA PAC on this meeting, that not to make a contribution until we came to this meeting. I'm just wondering what it was all about.
So I'm not quite sure about that information, but there's no worries. You can continue to contribute to ASTA PAC. There are no changes to that as of now. If there are changes, then I will be sure to make sure that this group is made aware.
Okay, thank you.
But please continue. Deb said, question about cost. Keep in mind, we all need to spend money to make money. With the old codes, the membership was only $12.44 a month. I can calculate what the per month cost would be and kind of give you all that information on your regional calls. But the way that we have set up these discounts is that they're going to be more than what ASTA 50 was, but less than what our consortia partners or host partners codes are, if that makes any sense. So unless they're affiliated with a specific, because not all host and consortia qualify for these codes, unless they are with a specific host or consortia that ASTA has a particular deal with, you all as chapter leadership are going to be the best deal that they get with ASTA, period. We designed it that way on purpose. And that's why these codes have a limited shelf life, if you will. It's only 2 months. And that's also why these codes are only being passed to chapter leadership. And we ask that as much as you possibly can, that you protect them, because this is for your benefit, to draw people into your meetings. So we want to make sure that they are protected. And as far as the competition itself goes, myself and Christina and Bob, and I'm also working with Sarah Little on our meetings department, we're working on different prizes for the leadership of the regions that we win. Can you get a list of hosts of consortia that have discounts for their members? Absolutely, I will send that information out as well. We can definitely do that. Again, it is 6:03. If you have to hop off, please do. This is continuing to be recorded, so if there's something that you miss, you'll be able to view the recording, but I want to be respectful of everyone's time. If there are other questions, I'm happy to stay on and answer any questions that you might have.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much.
Oh, no problem. I'm so glad that you were able to join us this evening.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good dinner.
Thank you. I have to go jump on another meeting.
Absolutely. I'm going to stick around for anyone who has any questions, either about their chapter specifically or about anything we discussed today. But once everyone has cleared the room, then I will close the meeting. Thank you, Iris. Stay well. Great. I see a few on camera. I see a few are sticking around. Oh, Chandra. Chandra, we are trying. First off, I have to say thank you for your absolute patience, and I promise you that it is not our fault. For those of you who are still on the call, Chandra asked about her EIN number, and poor Elizabeth is trying. She first went the traditional route of talking with the IRS. No one picked up the phone. She then mailed them. No one has responded to her, so she is continuing to bug them. Unfortunately, due to COVID and it being tax season for them as well, they are a little slow in responding, but she is hounding them as much as she possibly can to get your EIN. Other questions about anything at this point? Chapter specific to your chapter or otherwise?
Those chapter presidents that are on and board members, are you currently having in-person meetings? How are the members? Are they participating? What are you finding? Don't everybody talk at once. I know it's Monday night.
This is Denise from the Del Val chapter. We're having ours virtually, as you know. We've had, I would say, a decent turnout, not like I would have hoped, but we're having a decent turnout. We're having one tomorrow with John Pitt from ARC. If you'd like me to send it to you, shoot me an email and I'll send it to you. He's going to be our presenter for tomorrow at 4. I got all these meetings in my head. So, but we haven't had the participation like I would like. I get feedback sometimes from people say, I'm sorry, but I can't make it. I like it, just make sure it's recorded, that type of thing. But in person for coming, at the most, I think we've had 20, but with as large as our chapter is about 152 people, I think that's not even 80%.
That's the same problem we're having in Arizona too, Denise. Exactly the same. And what's happening is with a lot of consortiums and hosts, they're doing their own, so you're competing with them. And that's been the hard thing. And right now we've been trying to concentrate more on land vacations because trying to get people specialized if possible. I don't know.
Well, that's why we're having ARC join us tomorrow. Layla, did I send it to you? No. No, when you said that meant I didn't send it to you. I'll send it to you. But we're having ARC, as I said, tomorrow. And then next month, because we broke our meetings down to have it once a month, because we figured if we have it once a month, they can't get as worn out. And we look to have maybe something just slightly different from the consortiums, because as you said, Layla, that was the perfect thing. Yeah. They hear from them direct. So that's why we're trying a different route. Maybe I know at Walt.
Well, that's kind of
Edward had one
Denise
today, which was just like Rick. They had 2 nice ones. He had Alaska, and the SBN New York, one of the SBN New York chapters, they had an attorney talking about contracts and how to do your terms and conditions. So I thought that was excellent. So I had them both on at the same time. So, but like I said, tomorrow we're having ARC, and April we're having Charles Silver from CLIA. So I figured something different, because those are the people that you don't hear from. So that's why we're pushing that, so that maybe we'll get a better turnout. And I got a lot of people saying they're coming, but who knows when they get to that, who knows what it's going to be.
Well, I think that's why I was saying it's so good to see what some other chapters are doing and kind of having your members even sit into their meetings. There's nothing wrong with that, because we're not really competing against each other. You want to educate, because we're all ASTA or SBN, whichever.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to do, just shoot me an email at astadelval@gmail.com and I'll send you the link for tomorrow.
Linda, you usually have some ideas.
Me, Linda? Well, I guess what I would say is I agree that after a solid year, I think almost everybody in America is like heartily sick of Zooms,
Zoomed out.
and it is true. I think the things that, I mean, that sometimes it like we'll
Yeah.
just have a little, what do you want to say, event session, and people are frustrated about Alaska. Up in our neck of the woods, Alaska is huge. So the fact that there's all this Alaska cruise
Yeah.
drama has been a really big deal for us. But
Yeah.
one of the things that, like, for example, on Wednesday, the Seattle chapter is putting together a showcase, and they're just moving ahead with it, and it's going to be all virtual. But, I think attendance, it waxes and wanes depending on what anybody else has got going on. But one of the things that the Portland chapter has done is tried to bring on some, as somebody else said, somebody different. And so they're going to have some insurance representatives,
Right.
two different ones, like to talk about travel insurance versus Allianz, for example. But really, I mean, at this stage of the game, we feel like we're this close to the, release date of bursting out of the cell and getting free, but
Yeah.
we're not quite there yet. So I guess it's just a matter of getting people to kind of, hang on and touch
Yeah.
base. And I don't know what more we can really do.
Well, that's the other question I have is when I just do random calls to see if they even read the newsletters, they didn't even open it up. And they
No.
didn't know, and they said, how did I miss that? So I'm trying to think, what other way can we drop a bomb on them, and
Right.
basically trying to encourage possibly suppliers to do a door prize, do something.
Mhm.
It's still, you're kind of going between, maybe you're lucky to get 15, 20. The most we ever had was about 40. And
And
that's
at this
it.
point, I don't think people would even care about a $25 Starbucks gift card. I think what they'd rather say is somebody will come and do like all your laundry for a week.
Yeah.
That's the door prize.
I love it. Oh my God. Well, anyways, you all have done a great job, Linda. You have been very supportive, and I enjoyed watching you on Facebook.
Making a fool of myself.
No. You should do
not?
that. Have you ever watched Where's Waldo Today?
Yeah, right.
Think of
Yeah.
you. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, listen, everybody, take good care. Best of luck.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see
Yeah,
what
so if
happens.
anybody wants to join us tomorrow, I'll be happy to have you guys. I'll send, as I said, send me your email at astadelval@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to send it out.
What
Will
time
do.
is your meeting, Denise?
It's at, Eastern time, that will be 4:00. So depending on where you are, it's
So it's
anywhere from
1.
1 to 3.
Okay. Yeah, good to know, Denise. Okay. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so send me an email, astadelval@gmail.com.
Is it DEL?
Yes, DEL. And I'll send you the link.
You know what? I was supposed to have a dental cleaning tomorrow, but it's like, I'm not going to drive an hour to get my damn teeth cleaned in the middle of the day and all that. I just put it off. So I think I'm actually free. I'm going to send you an email.
Wonderful. I look forward to having you on there.
Okay. Dirty
Hey,
teeth and
Christina,
all, right?
Yes, they look perfect anyway. They look white. You don't have to have.
Okay, well,
Use some
thank
baking
you.
soda. You remember the old school? Use some baking soda. You remember that?
Yeah. For sure.
Christina, you're on mute right now. Christina,
She's
I'm
off.
going to set something up with you for our membership chair.
Yes.
She's been going through chemo, but at the same time trying to keep up with all this. So we've been doing a hit and miss, kind of contacting members that are literally now dropping off because, what do you do? So
Yes.
I think it'll
And
be,
Layla, that's the perfect opportunity to
Yeah.
go back after those folks once we send out those codes.
Yeah.
And please, this is for all the chapters who are still on. And we should say when we have our regional meetings with you all, we'll emphasize this, that please reach out to me if you want me on your
what
meetings to speak to membership and you know, in tandem with your, yeah.
Do you do meetings like Linda, like for the Portland chapter and stuff, and Denise for your chapter? If we can get like 4 or 5 membership folks from different chapters on, it's good. It'll kind of get them to know, hey, there's these other membership chairs too out there.
I think it's a great idea. If we were to set up a meeting specifically with the membership chairs and Christina, that would be awesome.
Good, because I find myself doing a lot of the work, and I think it'll booster them and kind of get to know the others. And then let's just say if you as a chapter president or whoever, these guys are on your board, that they could step in and go to some of the meetings and not feel, I don't know what the word I want to say, but I think it's important because
that's a great idea. Jasmine, Layla brought up a really great idea of, I mean, I know we're going to have our meetings about the recruitment and retention drive, but you know, if there's an opportunity maybe for us to gather with the, you know, we know some chapters have designated membership chairs, some have not, but for the ones that have, if they need some extra guidance or just an opportunity to get to know each other, and for me to also, you know, talk to them and give them even some more guidance on how to really pull this off and be successful. I don't mind at all setting aside time.
They'll come back with questions because each region will have different things going on. You know, our biggest thing right now is keeping our numbers, but you know, it's hard. So when they see everybody's in the same boat and we're really trying, and I love this new push you're going to be doing, I think it's going to incentivize and giving a boost to our membership chairs, really and truly.
Yeah.
So if you can, that'll be fantastic. And I appreciate it. And Jasmine, I love your baby. Just love that baby.
Thank you. He's getting a bath right now. Sorry, I had to leave. We had, as with babies, we had a major blowout, so I had to clean that up. That's gonna go on the recording.
Hey, you know what? We've all been there. We've either had the blowout or we've cleaned the blowout. So there you go.
Better clean it up quick too.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's a wonderful idea. We definitely can set aside some time for that. I feel like it'll probably happen after the regional calls have occurred, and if we can squeeze in some time after that, but before April 1st, or even just right at the start of the competition for the membership chairs, if there is one designated to do that. Yes, ma'am.
Great.
I would say one thing is that I know that like our region kind of already did its call, you know, so we'll have to do, maybe we can do something a little bit different for the Pacific Northwest since we did our big thing already. So
here is not just that, it's kind of getting to know the others too that are
So this is like it's kind of like a membership chair council call.
I think that's an awesome idea. Really, honestly, I think it's fabulous because those are people that aren't necessarily often on calls like this. And you know, sort of circling the wagon and bringing them in, I think it makes it feel more inclusive.
I think what it does, you kind of embrace them and appreciate, because I've been a membership chair and I know the work that goes into that too.
It's a lot of work.
Exactly. So you want to keep them on and you want to embrace them and say, hey, you are a very important part of our wheel. And it's, you know, it's just a thought, but I really want to hug my membership chair because everything she's going through right now, finding out she has to do chemo, and she feels that ASTA is kind of giving her that hope to just keep going forward and not think about her cancer.
Good.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right, guys. I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow, and on the Zoom for you know, with John Pittman. And as I said, just send me an email if you haven't gotten it. Just send me an email and I'll send it out to you. Your time zones, I know it's going to be different, but it's going to be 4 o'clock on East, 1 o'clock in Pacific, and who knows what's in between.
Right.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
Stay
All right,
safe.
everyone, I'm gonna go ahead and end the
Christina,
meeting.
I'm gonna send you, Christina, I'm gonna be reaching out to you very shortly.
Okay, okay, sounds good.
Bye-bye,
All right.
Christine.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you all.
everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, Denise.
Bye.
You're welcome.